Should I play Nadyog now? Okay, sure. So I'll be playing Nadyog now, which is a music meditation, which is played in Shantikunj and DSVV, Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya, every day between 6 and 6:50. I'll be playing that. Is it audible?
ऋषियों ने अनुभव किया है कि इस ब्रह्मांड में एक दिव्य नाद बराबर गुंजरित हो रहा है। उस नाद में सभी स्वर एवं सभी भाव समाये हुए हैं। नाद में, संगीत में प्राणियों के अंदर भाव संवेदना जगाने की क्षमता है। जीवन की संवेदनाएं सूख जाने पर जीवन नीरस हो जाता है। संवेदनाएं जाग जाएं तो मनुष्य और मनुष्य के बीच, मनुष्य और भगवान के बीच दिव्य आदान प्रदान शुरू हो जाता है। अभी जो संगीत बजेगा उसे अपने भीतर तरंगित होने दें। भावना करें कि संगीत की लहरों के साथ दिव्य संवेदनाएं संचारित हो रही हैं। यह भगवान कृष्ण की बांसुरी, शिव का डमरू का स्वर है। इनके साथ शरीर का कण कण, मन, अंतःकरण सब जग रहे हैं, पुलकित हो रहे हैं। अंदर के विकार शांत हो रहे हैं। आनंद भरी पुलकन उभर रही है। नाद समाप्त होने पर कुछ देर शांत मौन रहे। साधना के प्रभावों को स्थिर होने दें।
Namaste, everyone. I welcome you all to today's Yes Talk, the title of which is Awakening Divinity in Human Being. Our guest speaker today is Dr. Saurabh Mishra, who works as a volunteer at All World Gayatri Pariwar and Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya in Haridwar, Uttarakhand in India. His academic qualifications include Ph.D. in Materials Science and Engineering from the Pennsylvania State University, USA. In the past, he has also worked as an assistant professor at IIT Bombay. Namaste, Saurabh sir. We are so glad to have you with us today. And thank you so much for beginning the session on such a beautiful and peaceful note. Thank you, sir. And look forward to an interesting session with you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. I'll start with the Gayatri mantra and Guru Brahma. ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुरेव महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. Topic of today's talk is awakening divinity in human being. I'll just share my screen. Yeah, select window, entire screen, and allow. So I'll be displaying the presentation on the entire screen. So in case network goes or something, you can call me or you can unmute and tell me that something is. So awakening divinity in human being. So basically, this is a discourse of Acharya Shri, Pandit Shriram Sharma Acharya ji, who founded the organization All World Gayatri Pariwar. It is a discourse in Hindi, which has been translated into English, and it has been published in Akhand Jyoti English magazine, which has been in publication since January, February 2020, 2003. So it was published in two parts, first and the second issues. So what I have done is essentially just taken the full word by word lecture from there and put it in the form of a presentation. So we'll just go through it, and wherever some at some places some discussion is required, I'll doing that. Otherwise, we'll be going through this presentation essentially most of the time just reading through it. So Acharya begins the presentation with the Gayatri month. I said, you all must have heard of the grace. We are talking about awakening divinity, you know, within ourselves, in human beings, how to awaken divinity. So we will be going through several definitions first. You know, what does divinity mean? What does awakening mean? You know, awakening of it. How do we assess that whether the divinity is awakening or not? How can we test that? So all those things will be covered in this discourse. You all must have heard of the grace of God. We all have heard about the grace of God. His special incarnations entrusted with specific cosmic tasks are called Devata in the Vedas. And in the Vedas, special incarnations of God who are entrusted with specific cosmic tasks, they are called Devata, deities. We all know that. Now, what is the literal meaning of word Devata? That means Devata means one who gives. Devata is one who gives. Dene wala, the one who gives. Devata. Okay. So obviously, if somebody wants to give something, many of us have to pray to and worship the deities because we either want something or we need help in adverse moments. There are two reasons why mostly people pray to or worship the deities. So now Acharya said, okay, now let us discuss about the deities because we are talking about divinity. Let's discuss about the deities. Acharya says there's no doubt that deities do bless us enormously, otherwise they would not have been named as deities. They bless us enormously, that's for sure. Because we just saw, because by definition, deities always give something. They always want to give something. And well, there is nothing wrong or unnatural if one requests something from someone who always wants to give. And if somebody always wants to give something, there's nothing wrong or unnatural in asking for something from that person. We all know that. But now the question arises. It is in the question and answer format. All his most of his discourses and writings are in the question answer format. So what do the deities give? That's the question. No? If somebody we are asking something of somebody, we should know what actually that person can give. They give only what they themselves possess. Deities only give what they themselves possess. That's for sure. Naturally, one can give only what one has. That's what one can give. So Acharya says deities have only one thing. We have been told in the modern world a lot of things that for which people go to the this monument, this places of pilgrimage and all the religious centers and all people go for and asking for many things like wealth and I don't know what not. But Acharya says deities have only one thing. Let's be very clear about it. They have only one thing, that is divinity, devatva. Okay, so now what is this divinity? Then he defines divinity. Divinity is the most refined and virtuous form of one's nature, conduct, qualities, and deeds. That is divinity. And that's what deities have. And that is what deities can give. Nothing less, nothing more. Divinity is the most refined, Parishkrit, most refined and virtuous form of one's nature, conduct, qualities, and deeds. Deities gladly bestow divinity upon the devotee. If it is a true devotee, they gladly bestow divinity, saying, we have given you the best we could. We've given you the best we could. Now it is up to you to accept and make use of it in the way you find it suitable and succeed accordingly. It is now up to you how to accept it, make use of it, and find it suitable and in the way you find suitable and succeed accordingly. Now, Acharya says that one important thing that everybody wants to have and should have is excellence of personality. There's one thing in the world that indeed yields commendable success, and that is excellence of personality. And this excellence of personality a person has, then there is a commendable success that person can achieve. It is a minimum requirement to achieve anything worthwhile and fulfilling. We all know this. It is a minimum requirement. If one has somehow gained something and despite having an inferior personality, and if somebody has an inferior personality and still that person has gained something, and without demonstrating his talents, if somebody has gained, we all know that if without demonstrating talents, hard work, and essential qualities, if somebody has somehow gained something, then that so-called success will be short-lived, very short-lived. He gives a simile from our physical body. If your digestive system is weak, then an excessive intake of eatables is sure to create problems and upset your health. Similarly, if you don't have wisdom and the ability to make proper use of the resources and facilities available to you, and if you don't have wisdom, Vivek, and the ability to properly use the resources and facilities that are available to us, then these would be a cause of trouble to you in one way or the other. We all know this. If we have strength, people don't use it properly, it causes problems. If there is a lack of nobility and wisdom, if there is a lack of nobility and wisdom, then in case you have inherited some wealth or inappropriately grabbed wealth, will act as a catalyst for your evils and weaknesses. That will increase the evil. That will not cause. That will not give you happiness or something. It will create. It will enhance or will be a catalyst for your evils and weaknesses. If there is a lack of nobility and wisdom, then your inherited or inappropriately grabbed wealth will act as a catalyst for your evils and weaknesses, and these would lead to pernicious addictions, inflate your ego, and sooner or later ruin your life. We all know this. Okay, so this was one thing that deities give, divinity. Now, what else do the deities give? What do they give? What else do they give? Now, they give something else. Also, they give you the capacity to digest and handle success. Once we have divinity, and by using that we have get some success, then deities, if they are happy, they also give you the capacity to digest and handle success. They give you that wisdom by which we can digest and handle that success. Because to wisely handle worldly possessions, powers, and comforts which appear to you as treasures of joy, we should have appropriate qualities. If we have possessions and we are able to wisely handle them, wisely utilize them for our betterment and for the betterment of everybody, then they will give us joy. And for that, we should have appropriate qualities. This ability that is to digest and handle success, the key to real joy. This is the key to real joy. This is the key to real joy, is what could be described as an offshoot of divinity. A side effect of offshoot of divinity, it can be called. Now, Acharya tells, if divinity is awake in you, then you could accomplish high goals with small or insignificant resources and effort. With small or insignificant resources, we can accomplish high goals. If you have greater opportunities and sources, then well and good. If you have greater opportunities, good and well good, but you would be happy and successful even without them. You would be happy and successful. However, if you desire something you do not deserve, or you are eager to acquire success without caring to improve yourself, desire something you do not deserve, eager to acquire success without caring to improve yourself, then Acharya says, well, what can I say? God better help you. God help you. He gives a simile again. Vigor and strength of human body is good, but if it is not controlled by wisdom, this thing, it would become an instrument of demonic deeds. We see the scriptures, we see the modern world, and we see everywhere. It will become an instrument of demonic deeds, resulting in an effect similar to that of adding fuel to fire. Deities never commit the mistake of showering wealth or worldly resources on the unworthy. They never commit the mistake. Because if they do, then they would be helping the evil forces to inflict incalculable disaster on humanity. That's why they don't do that. But now, what next word comes? Humanity. What is humanity? Dear children, divinity was the most refined form. Humanity, manvita is within us, within human beings. Within human beings, humanity signifies the power. It is the power within human beings which elevates and excels our thinking, attitude, ambitions, and activities. Manvita, humanity, is the power which elevates and excels our thinking, attitude, ambitions, and activities. It is a great attribute. It is a great attribute. Now, Acharya tells, attempting to fulfill your desires is not bad per se, but is subject to one scrutiny. You want to fulfill your desires, it's okay. Subject to one scrutiny. What is being desired and what for? What is being desired? If they are for a worldly materialistic purpose, then it is necessary to know, it's very necessary to know whether you deserve the object of your desire. How would you digest it if received? And how will you utilize it? These three things are essential to be known. Man is prone to make mistakes, but not the gods. Gods cannot make mistakes. Deities can't bless you with things you often crave and ask for. Great personages, Mahamanav, great personages who had living contact with deities, we all know that, did not generally benefit materially. We don't see that they benefited materially. Now, what did they receive? They had the virtues of humanity, and they got the seeds of divinity, which they cultivated further and sprouted into various natural and supernatural qualities. The virtuous talents and powers thus acquired enabled them to progress in life. The cultivation of these see, they got the seeds, now they cultivated them and grew them further. Cultivation of these noble qualities has allowed great men and women to accomplish what sounds impossible for the normal human being. With the growth of divinity now, what happens? With the growth of divinity in personality, what will happen? Anybody can reach great heights of glory in the worldly as well as spiritual domains. It is only the wise usage of your virtues that is important. Wise usage is important. It does not matter whether they are used in the spiritual and material field. It doesn't matter at all. Your qualities, deeds, and nature. Your qualities, deeds, and nature are sources of power in themselves. People think that power in somewhere else. No. Your qualities, deeds, and nature are sources of power in themselves. Where and how to use them depends entirely upon your choice. Now, to get success, we need unflinching courage. Success is earned by unflinching courage. Sahas, we need sahas, courage. Courageous temper again is a spiritual quality. Courageous temper is a spiritual quality. A yogi, he gives several examples where courage is required. A yogi accomplishes miraculous feats with his support. Tantrics and great personalities also achieve grand successes because of their extraordinary courage. Everyone needs it for attempting and succeeding in something significant. You want to do something significant, we need courage. Sahas. If you are a yogi, you will be able to perform difficult yoga practices with the strength of your inner bearer. If you are a leader, a reformer, then also you will progress as per your courageous zeal. It is a divine quality by origin. You may choose to use it the way you want. It is a divine quality. Now, what is noteworthy or specific in a person is the effect of his inner qualities. And all these things, all the virtues, whatever we are talking about, is the inner qualities. That is noteworthy in a person. So, if deities are happy and bestow something upon someone, it will always be the wealth of virtuous qualities and virtuous potentials. That's all. No material things. Goddess Gayatri, whom you pray to and worship through anusthans, will also endow you with divine qualities. Goddess Gayatri will also endow with divine qualities. Now, what will happen with the virtues you acquire? What will happen? Well, virtuous qualities and potentials can bring you all that you aspire for. This actually, all the great personages who are there, and they have proved this through their life. Virtuous qualities and potentials can bring you all that you aspire for. Whether materialistic or spiritual, whenever someone has gained success, it has been attained with his virtuous potentials and talents only. You know this. Samasdari, imandari, jimmedari, bahaduri, wisdom, this honesty, responsibility, and courage. These are the virtuous qualities. Through this, we can attain all that is needed, what we want to attain. Without the qualities of character and talents, one cannot gain anything worthwhile, neither worldly nor spiritual. We all know this. Now, Acharya says, our folly. Where does man go wrong? Our folly. Man is an intelligent being, but at times displays his foolishness more than his intelligence. He'll use some strong words here. I don't know from where he has developed the notion that gods fulfill all desires. He says, I don't know from where he has got this notion that gods fulfill all desires. They bestow, what do they bestow? The boons of, we were just talking about, wealth, son, job, victory, and whatnot. I don't know, he says, from where this notion has come. Unfortunately, this misconception has entered in the field of spirituality also. This, he describes in another discourse what is spirituality. He defines spirituality. It is what the material science that we know today. It is the science of materials. Now, spirituality is also science. Science of what? It is the science of consciousness. Chetana ka vigyan, science of soul. How to modulate consciousness. The science of that is spirituality. He defines in another discourse. I'll show you the link at the end. Unfortunately, he says this misconception has entered in the field of spirituality also. So instead of pursuing that science, people, what do? They keep asking for these things and think that by some cheap rituals they can get these things. Huge misconception, huge delusion, huge delusion. This delusion has caused great harm as it has deprived the deluded devotees of the enormous benefits and bright possibilities of genuine spirituality. There is another book of Acharya, The Great Moments of Change. English translation of his book Parivartan ke Mahan Kshan, Great Moments of Change, in which he actually describes that his search for true spirituality, what are the basic traits of that. And book is available online. I'll put the link later in the chat box. What are the basic tenets of true spirituality, and what is the methodology by which we can adopt that in our lives? He told that through his life, and then what are the outcomes, that results that one can gain by that thing, that he will genuine spirituality. So the deluded devotees are devoid of those opportunities. Deities have given only one thing in the ancient times, will give only one thing in the future, he says. They've given only one thing in the ancient times, will give only one thing in the future, and that is, as long as the deities survive, devotion to God is sustained, if the regularity of worship is maintained, one thing will be granted. If these three things are there, one thing granted, that is divine virtues. Divine virtues. Everybody wants to have an honest companion, honest colleague. Everybody wants to have. These are divine virtues. Honesty. If you are endowed with the virtues of divinity, then you will be acquired far more glorious success than what you dream of and desire now. Now, what do you want from the blessings of a deity or a great saint, or from the power of a monk? What do you want? A job of a few thousand rupees in lieu of the invaluable treasure of divinity? If any deity bestows divinity upon you, then it will raise the worth of your job so much that you'll be grateful forever. Now he gives the example of Swami Vivekananda. Vivekananda had gone to Ramakrishna Paramahans to ask for a job, but instead he got what a great soul like him indeed deserved. What did he get? Divinity. True devotion, bhakti, strength, shakti, and peace, shanti. What are these? These are divine virtues. He says, Acharya Shri says, when saints shower their kindness upon you, they inspire unique enthusiasm and optimism in your inner self. They inspire. That's what they give. There's another discourse of Acharya Shri, the Divya Anudan Uch Sari Prernav ke roop mein. That is, deities inspire only unique enthusiasm and optimism in your inner self, and give specific directions, righteous directions, which propels you towards enlightened values of ethics and morality. That's all. And then the later part is our job to work on that path and achieve higher, greater and greater heights. When one is attracted by the soothing wave of ideas and is immersed in it, when is attracted by the soothing wave of ideas and is totally immersed in it, his magnetism. Now he's telling that how do we assess that whether divinity has awakened in somebody? His magnetism, his charm, his voice, his overall personality, and his authenticity are so overpowering that everyone is impressed by him, attracted towards him, and wants to cooperate with him. Vivekananda got abundant love, honor, and support from all over the world. Who showered them? He says, Goddess Kali. If gurus like Ramakrishna are alive somewhere or are reborn, they will always grant blessings that will develop the virtuous personalities of their disciples. That's all they will do. And if your personality is refined and has evolved in the righteous direction, then cooperation and harmonious association will be showered upon you from all directions according to your wishes. You won't have to ask for them, you will receive them effortlessly. When divinity is expressed in your personality, benevolence and respect begin to bless you. We all know this. Now, other examples he tells. So many examples are available before you. Look at Revered Baba Amte. He donated everything and dedicated his whole life for the service of the socially discarded leprosy patient. Dedicated his whole life. This is, in fact, this is an act of greatness, a symbol of true humanity, a boon of divinity. Symbol of true humanity and a boon of divinity. Blessings of deities cannot be expressed by sacrifices of any lesser magnitude than that of people like Baba Amte, and there is nothing greater to be blessed by. That is the maximum blessing that one can get. Now he says a strong word, blessing, begging. Begging has never brought anything worthwhile to anyone and will never be able to bring anything in future either. Now, next question. What do the deities do? What do they do? Yeah, the deities keep doing one thing. What do they keep doing? They keep showering flowers. It tells like the Ramayana, Holy Scripture Ramayana, if you see, look at the scriptures, the Holy Ramayana, for instance, describes that 50 odd places that deities showered cricket flowers from the heaven. From the heaven, deities showered flowers. At least at 50 places they have mentioned. Again, this is symbolism. What do these flowers mean? They are happy. They are showering flowers. What are these flowers? They symbolize goodwill, cooperation, guidance, respect, and caring. These are the things that these flowers symbolize, and that's what deities give. What attracts these virtues? Divinity. Divinity attracts. If we have aspiring or striving to awaken these virtues within us, these good qualities within us, purify ourselves from all the attachment and from all the vices, then these virtues are attracted, which is covertly present in the world. It alone survived in the past and will alone survive in the future. It can never be wiped out. Next, if demons, evils do not die, then why should God, the highest symbol of divinity, die? Like-minded people are attracted towards each other. We know this. So a deity is attracted by deity like humans, and ideals are attracted by ideals. This results in the growth of benevolence, opportunities, and cooperation from all directions. This is what has been happening, is happening, and will continue to happen. He says, I'm admiring deities. Yeah. Another question, very interesting question, very good question. Where do they live? We have been told they live in various, various pilgrimage centers. They live in various religious places, spiritual places, and all. But he just now described what do the deities have? They have divinity, and what is divinity is the most refined form of all the virtues that we can think about, and which is the place of where the virtues reside. You know, the divinity of the representative of divinity is within us in the form of a soul, an inner self. So they are present in the integrity of the human character and the inner self. That's where the deities live. He explains in his discourses in Hindi. He explains in very lucid terms in various through various stories. He's from the Puranas and other places. He explains this. But in the short, he is telling here, where do they live? They are present in the integrity of the human character and the inner self, because that is the seat of all the virtues that we can think about. They inspire the motivation and the zeal that clears all. And once they have showered this divinity, then they inspire the motivation and zeal that clears all illusions and breaks and destroys the web of complications, infirmities, ignorance, and worry. Divine inspiration compels one to follow the righteous path. We have to follow the righteous path. This is the true blessing of a deity. It's the true blessing of a deity. Anything lesser or lower than that, this can't be a blessing of a divine power. The doors of eminence, success, and achievements open up as soon as your qualities, deeds, and nature are illuminated by the spark of divinity. As soon as qualities, deeds, and nature, these are the source of power. And if they are illuminated by the spark of divinity, then doors of eminence, success open up. Whosoever has gained immortal, glorious progress or notable success in any field in the world to date has accomplished it through his virtuous personality. Excellence of personality we are talking about. A deity's blessing consists of supremacy of qualities, talents, and thoughts. Supremacy of qualities and thoughts. Life history of every great personality demonstrates it. Almost all of them, I'll be going through this little fast, this part. Almost all of them were born in ordinary or underprivileged families and circumstances. All the great men and women, they were almost all of them, all the great personalities, born in ordinary or underprivileged families and circumstances, but they reached greater and greater heights and accomplished brighter and brighter goals. Now he's giving another example. Look at our former Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri's life, for example. He was blessed with God's grace. How? Two virtues in the form of two qualities: responsibility and wisdom, divine virtues. These great virtues establish the linkage between the God and the devotee. Right? The linkage between God and the devotees, and you cannot just get them just like that. You have to strive hard to develop, inculcate these things and develop these qualities within ourselves. A lot of resistance comes. You have to overcome that resistance, and then slowly, these are ingrained in our personality. So these great virtues establish the linkage between God and the devotee, and also strengthen it further. This is the only way to communicate with the omniscient presence. And now I ask, why do we worship the divine? Why do we at all worship the divine? We do all the prayers and all those things. Why do we do that? To please God? No. God, you cannot please God. No, he says only for two reasons. One is to condition and remind our minds of our divine origin. And in Shantikund, there is a Bhatka Hua Devta Mandir, which tells that our origin is actually divine. So we always pray. The inbuilt all the messages in that every prayer that we do, it has messages which reminds us, condition reminds us that we have divine origin. And the true worship of God means only one thing: the cultivation of nobility in thoughts, motives, speech, and actions. That is the true worship. If we cultivate within ourselves nobility, thoughts, motives, speech, and action. If you think that by worshipping a particular god you will gain material success or fulfill a specific desire, he says then it is a wrong delusion. Worshipping God with sincerity results in enhancement of virtues like generosity, compassion, warmth in your psyche. It brings about a positive change in the attitude of the devotee towards life. It brings about a positive change in the attitude of devotee towards life. If you have not performed worship in its true sense, then you are likely to be lost in a maze of lifeless, mechanical rituals. That's all. If worship is not performed in the true sense, behind every ritual, there is a message for us how to purify ourselves, refine ourselves, how to awaken divinity ourselves. If we have not done that, then only rituals are lifeless, mechanical. You should worship in such a way that you also get the gifts of grace bestowed on true devotees present and past. Now, how do we know that? Now, this is the litmus test. How do we know that actually divinity is awakening within us by our efforts? Your virtues, character, actions, behavior, thoughts, sentiments must improve as a result of worship. This is what shows the action of divinity, activation of divinity in life. If you attain this state, that's why I say that Acharya Sri has laid down a lot of principles of scientific spirituality. All the spiritual practices. How do we know that scientifically? He tells, how do we actually know that they are working? They are causing some change. That's what this is. If you attain this state, great opportunities will knock at your door. Glance through the cultural history of India. All the great names in it are of those who served the noble cause of the good of all, and not of those who earned scholastic laurels. Have you another example? Have you heard of Mahamana Malviji? He was an ordinary person who became a great personage through sincere worship of divinity as he conceived it. Friends, when God is pleased, He does not give you the petty worldly things you hanker after. Rather, He bestows on you God-like qualities which elevate your soul. Elevate your soul. The lives of world's really great personages demonstrate this fact. None among them was such who did not receive God's grace, guidance, and cooperation of the masses they served. He says, give me one name of great personality who was not endowed with any godly qualities of compassion, love, faith, and service, and who did not elicit a spontaneous and loving cooperation from those who followed him. The noble values and principles of morality, ethics, and spontaneity, when adopted in their conduct, help in the enhancement of talents and resources. Saints adhere to great ideals of godlike lives. They are never poor. Saints are never poor. We think in material terms, no. Required resources arrive at their doorsteps, but they do not accumulate them. They generously share them with the needy. When our minds now, how do we make sure that these things awaken within us? When our minds are cleansed of all impurities and perversions, all impurities and perversions are removed. Our material, then he says, automatically these divine qualities come within us, are developed within us. Our material and inner resources are augmented. How many examples should I mention? A life of everyone who followed the ideal path of selfless service exemplifies this fact. They are true devotees in my view. I consider that now he further defines worship, true worship. I consider the worship and devotion of only those as true and worthwhile who could attract divine energies of their deities by the nobility of their character, by the magnetism of their virtues, and by their single minded determination at self refinement. They could attract the divine energies of their deity, whichever deity they follow. When deities are happy with your worship, they bless you with the attributes of a divine being, enlightened wisdom, compassion, and selfless service. All the deities, all the pictures, all the symbols, all the symbolism that we have, they all describe some, they all represent some specific virtues which the devotees have to develop within themselves by following them. Now he goes one step further. My concept of worship and divine blessings is somewhat different. I can say that a true devotee can attract divine energies by the force of his nobility. He can compel deities to help in pursuit of his noble aims. He can get God's help whenever he asks, as is right. Such nobility has developed. His aims are so noble that God cannot ignore his call. God has to support that person in the noble deeds. Those who worship God begging for a few worldly possessions, those who beg, or for fulfillment of egocentric desires can't be true devotees. Even if they spend all their time in prayers and rituals, they cannot be true devotees. Glad consent to God. What is God's will? Glad consent to God's will is the real spirit of devotion. It is a prime condition to be fulfilled for being a devotee in it. So, not my will, God's will. God is assured, he says, God is assured in his devotees in the Gita. What? Yogakshimam mahamyam. I'll provide for all your needs. True, God does take care of his devotee, but he has not promised to satisfy his cravings. Yoga and shame mean taking care of your physical, mental, intellectual, and spiritual well being. Everything is taken care of by God. Assured. Don't chase the mirage of passions and desires, devalues the dignity of devotion and the eminence of God's grace. The relation between the deity and the devotee is graceful and dignified only when the devotee doesn't beg for anything, but rather offers to entirely give himself to the divine. What? The divine task, divine work. God has already given you so much. He has created you. He is always taking care of your yoga and shame without your praying for it. Okay. Now he says, well, we are talking so much about God. Now, what is God? He now tries to define God. He said it's not really possible, but he tries to define God. God is not a particularly embodied being. It is we who have conceived him in various forms just to symbolize specific virtues. Now he says if it is a must to give a definition, if it is a must, mandatory, then God could only be vaguely described. This is very interesting words he used. Yeah, God can only be vaguely described as an infinite ensemble of supreme moral principles, saintly ideals, and nobility. That's what God is. And the moment we focus on this specific definition of God, then all the delusions, all the diversions are removed. No, all the bhram, all the delusions are removed, and then we know that now sitting near God, upasana means trying to understand what does God represent, what virtues God represents, ideals and nobility God represents. Next, trying to inculcate those things through sadhana means incorporating these virtues. And once these are incorporated, compassion is developed, true love is developed. Then aradhana means this whole world is God's creation, making it good, better. That is aradhana, using those divine virtues for that purpose. Faith in divine values and ideals and a self-disciplined endeavor to live for high principles is true devotion and enlightened worship. Faith in divine values and ideals, faith, and self-disciplined endeavor to live for high principles and ideals. Transparency of character is a great asset of a person through which he gets abundant support, affection, and cooperation from all quarters. This is real prosperity. This is real prosperity. Any monetary or material sources ever provided? No. Now, we'll quickly go through some examples. People donated all their wealth and resources at the feet of Buddha, Lord Buddha, moved by his compassion and absolute selflessness. Gandhiji's benevolence, his missionary zeal, his aspirations were all aimed at the welfare of the lowliest and the lost. This, together with impeccability of character, made him a universally acclaimed Mahatma. People from all strata of society stood by him, cooperated with him, and followed him. Millions of people voluntarily went to jails and sacrificed their lives for the noble cause of national freedom upon his call. Is such ethical and spiritual eminence attainable by us all? Acharya tells from his experience, yes, indeed. With full faith, he says, yes, indeed. Subject to only one condition: you too, like Mahatma, should be ready to be led by a truth-dwelling light of the spirit. Your shadow will follow you. But you seem to be choosing your own shadow, the shadow of elusive worldly attraction and attachment that seem to have overwhelmed you. You should learn to walk towards the light, towards God, noble aims and ideals. Such ideals are the attributes of deities like Hanuman and other emanations of God. Friends, turn away from the mirage of cravings, passions, greed, and discontentment, and let your prayers and worship reach the stage where your personality would be illumined by the God's light, by the glow of divinity. This is true devotion. Is defining different in different ways is defining true devotion. If you have cultivated virtuous tendencies in conduct, I assure you that you will get support and cooperation from people around you. Boons of enlightened progress will be showered upon you from all directions. This is what has been and will continue to be the source of God's blessings and the blessings of Divine Mother Gayatri. This has been the great tradition of devotion and of devotees and will be so in future too. If you understand the secret and learn to the true meaning of worship and devotion, your Gayatri Anushthan here will be accomplished in the true essence. This course must have been given during a Anushthan, Gayatri Anushthan. The self-disciplined practice of this Anushthan sadhana are meant to define your personality so that virtuous tendencies flourish in you. Once the personality is refined, then automatically he tells virtuous tendencies flourish in us. The great moments of change, he describes this in detail in that book. If this tapasya of yours is sincere, then at the end of this Anushthan, you will feel endowed with godly attributes of an authentically virtuous and noble person. When a person imbibes an attitude of loving service, he sees his own good in the welfare of others and experiences happiness in it. You will be blessed by God's grace. You will be blessed by God, just as the great devotees of the past have been. Now he tells his experience. I have tried. He says that I have actually tried it. And he's studying. I have tried and followed this path and have been blessed with sublime gifts in my life. I want all of you who have come for this sadhana course to get inspired and be blessed by divine grace. If this inspires you and you begin to practice it, I assure you that the result will be so fulfilling, so majestic that you, your country, your life, your God, this sadhana course, and I myself will be glorified. May God bless you with His grace. This is awakening divinity in a human being that we just went through.
Thank you, Saurabh sir. We are so glad to have had this lovely, beautiful session with you. Thanks a lot. Uh, we'll check with the participants if anyone wants to share something or anyone wants to ask something from Saurabh sir. Please go ahead. You can raise the hand. I'll call out your name, or you can use the chat box also.
Meanwhile, I'll put the links in the chat box of the relevant
Yes, sir.
links.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
Am I still sharing my screen?
No, sir.
I'm not. Okay.
Okay, so Sundarji has raised the hand. Sir, please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Just wanted to know if divinity comes just the way we conduct ourselves, or do we do something more than that? We conduct in the right manner ourselves. Will the
Yes,
divinity come
yes, yes.
automatically?
Yeah. That's what he describes. That one in the book, as I was studying, this the great moments of change. That's what he describes. That the moment we fully cleanse or meaning we start the effort of cleansing ourselves of all the vices and everything, and start inculcating virtuous tendencies in our actions, in our emotions, thoughts, and actions, then divine qualities start coming within us automatically. I generally discuss one example, like in Gayatri month when we say, so the Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devas Dhimai Dhiyo No Prachodayat. Now the meaning, the basically the bhavart, as we say, no? The meaning of that we say is in this God is visualized in the form of 7 qualities. No, प्राण स्वरूप दुखना, I'm just telling in Hindi. I'll just tell in English also later. प्राण स्वरूप दुखनाशक, सुख स्वरूप शेष तेजस्वी पापनाशक, देव स्वरूप परमात्मा को हम अंतरात्मा में धारण करें here. This basically God in the form of glow and radiance of virtues. Let us adopt that the God in our inner self, and then it leads us in the righteous path. Now, there's an example that, well, inner self has say 9 chairs or 10 chairs. Now they are filled with all are filled with vices. So now that grace has come till here. Now it is saying, well, please clean one chair at least, so that I have a place to sit down, and then I can guide you in the righteous direction. That's what we say. So that is the basic feeling behind it. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We have a question in the chat box. Marcelo says, thanks for the session, sir. Please, could you share your thoughts on how do you bring that divinity into the sound you chant or play to communicate it to the world and other beings?
Okay. How do you?
I suppose, sir, as a musician, he is asking you this question.
Interesting. I'll try to answer this. I'll try my best. Uh, um, so, into the sound you chant or play. So, like in this discourse, also we saw, na, कि once we refine ourselves, then, like he once has at one place said, then our personality, the charm, the grace of our personality becomes such, then automatically it is transmitted in whatever we do, be it music, be it speech, or we are standing silently or sitting silently. Whatever we do, that is communicated. The basic prerequisite is refinement of our personality. That's what I can understand.
Thank you, sir. Participants, anyone else wants to share something or ask something, please go ahead. Okay, Dr. Bijlani, sir, I request you to please share your thoughts for this session.
Thank you, Saurabh for providing a very comprehensive way of how to approach the divine, what to expect from the divine, what not to expect from the divine, and what is the outcome of approaching the divine. And you talked of the divinities or the deities as the different aspects of the divine, who can give different things. But those different things basically, again, fall in one category, and that is the nobility of the different parts of the being, the different parts of the being expressing and manifesting the divinity that they truly are. If we allow the divinity to manifest through them by vacating the space, as you said, from all the negativities. There's no bar on asking the divine for anything. We can pray for anything we like. But then, if we ask for only material benefits, it would be like asking a millionaire for just 1 rupee. The one who can give so much, to ask him for only material benefits is shows how little value we have for what is really valuable, and therefore we should be asking for what we can expect from that millionaire. But at the same time, being human and having our weaknesses, we may ask for other things. But then, as you said, we'll still get only what the divine can give us. And the divine knows best what is best for us. And therefore, we may not get what we ask for. And because we don't get always that we ask for, we sometimes feel that the prayer is not being answered. But then on that, Sri Aurobindo and the mother have both assured that all sincere prayers are answered, all sincere prayers are heard and answered, but answered not in our way and our time. We expect instant gratification. We want quickly what we have asked for. It may not happen. And we want it to be answered the way we want, which means that we asked for certain things and we want the prayer to be answered by granting us those things. But then, as this continues, if this sincerity of devotion continues, and ultimately it boils down to sincerity, which you emphasized quite a bit. If this continues sincerely, eventually we will also start understanding why we are not getting what we asked for. We'll start understanding that we, in fact, got something better than what we had asked for. And eventually we'll stop expecting anything. And as Sri Aurobindo says, the ultimate outcome of a prayer is not what we got, not the outcome of the prayer in terms of what we can see or even feel. The most important outcome of this continuous process is establishing a relationship with the divine, a personal relationship with the divine. And we start valuing that relationship for that relationship itself. A relationship of love and intimacy, a relationship that ensures bliss, because then we do not need anything. Because once we have achieved that relationship with the one who is everything and therefore does not need anything, by achieving that intimacy, we also feel we need nothing. So that is the ultimate outcome, and we are just happy with that relationship. So these few words, which might have summarized some what you said, I'd like to thank you again for giving us this very comprehensive view of what to expect from a prayer, and that we get from a prayer what is actually best for us. And the material benefits that we expected, if we are designed to get them, they will follow as a byproduct. Not everyone is designed for that, because the material benefits come to some, and some will get some other types of benefits. So that all again is something that follows a logic that may be beyond human comprehension. But then, if it has come from the divine and the person understands that that relationship is progressing in the direction of becoming close to the divine, the material benefits will be utilized properly. That is what is most important. Or as all great men like Sri Aurobindo, the mother, Mahatma Gandhi, they all said, if you get some wealth, having wealth is not itself a sin, but you're not the owner of that wealth, you are a trustee. So if that is the way we behave, then if that is what we are destined to get, if that is the way we are expected to fulfill divinity in man, then that is what we'll get. But if we don't, then we know that that was not best for us. And no matter how our prayer is answered, we know that one thing is guaranteed, and that is prayer will always take us closer to the divine and help us establish that relationship, which will make us want less and less and eventually want nothing. Thank you again for this opportunity to reflect on these very important facts of life.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Uh, I would like to inform everyone that the recording of this talk, and of course all Yes Talks every Saturday, is uploaded on our YouTube channel, which is spelled Yes Spirituality. And all the content posted on this channel is broadly on the topics yoga, education, and spirituality, and related subjects as well, such as self-help, psychology, and wellness. Saurabh sir, thanks again for sharing your valuable time with all of us. And I thank the participants as well for being with us today. We can close today's session with a moment of peaceful silence. Namaste.